Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel. My name is Paul, the Canadian Snowman, back once again with another awesome video of the Ottomans. It's been a few days. Last time we did, pretty much, what's it called? The Ottomans took care of business over on the, I say like West Coast, and it's not even there's no coast over here. I guess over pretty much in the East, took care of business over there for like the next, it was like 40 years, I believe. Uh, yeah, there's a couple of cool battles. I'm sorry, it's been a couple of days, and yeah, and then I know that now they're able to actually focus their attention on Europe, I believe. So I think that's where this video is gonna head over to. So I'm definitely excited to check it out. These battles and I don't know. I guess just how everything's moving along, it's been pretty cool and stuff. So, anyway, let's check this video out and see, battle here. We got two battles going on here, and just within a year period of each other. So that's cool. So yeah, I'm not really sure what to expect. But anyways, guys, please hit that like and subscribe button below. If you're new here, definitely check out. I would definitely recommend a big start from the beginning of this series. Then you can catch up and be up to date with the rest of us. That'd be great. But yeah, let's do this. Like, subscribe, and let's jump into it. 3, 2, 1, bam.
The Ottoman expansion into Europe was generally successful, yet every state they attacked managed to resist, and this resistance gave Lazar, Skanderbeg, Hunyadi, Vlad Tepes, and others the status of legends. In this episode,
Okay, so if they're successful going into Europe, but yet the people they're trying to conquer are successful in resisting, then how does it go? You can't both sides be successful, right? I mean, there's got to be someone that comes out on top, right? So maybe this is to this point. I guess what they're saying is that both sides have had success. So now we're on to this point, right? All right.
we will cover the resistance of another legendary historical figure, the Prince of Moldavia, Stefan III, the battles of Vaslui and Valea Alba, and how they shaped the region for many years to come.
All right.
We left our series on Ottoman history on the Battle of Otluk-Bely, during which the Ottoman Sultan Mehmet II fought against Uzun Hasan, the leader of the new Turkic power, the Akkunyulu. But to tell this story, we will need to go back a few decades to the Princedom of Moldavia.
Okay.
In 1451, the Prince of Moldavia, Bogdan II, was murdered by his brother Peter, who took the title. The new prince secured the realm by becoming vassal to the Polish king Casimir IV. He also started to pay tribute to the Ottomans in 1456. However, the son of Bogdan, Stefan, was supported by the leader of the Hungarian armies, John Hunyadi, and the then Prince of Wallachia, Vlad III. In 1457, Stefan received troops from Vlad and entered Moldavia, defeating Peter at Orbik. He became the prince as Stefan III. The new ruler continued to pay tribute to the Ottomans and used the respite to reform the princedom. The power of the aristocracy was curbed, and the serfs became free tenants, which allowed them to join the army.
Okay.
The military was improved and strengthened with artillery units, and new fortresses were built along the borders. Stefan gained the city of Kotin from Poland, either through diplomacy or military action, and as his opponent Peter was in exile in Transylvania, he attacked this region, which was under Hungarian protection.
Polish. I just think it's kind of cool because I never really think of like Poland as like power, because I kind of think of like modern Poland and like the World Wars and stuff like that. But here it's like, look at all the land they got, and they're like a big force to be reckoned with. So it's kind of cool, how like every country had their like moment in time where they were like the boss, man. So the country not to be messed with. So the Ottomans here, I mean, until the empire collapsed. But anyways,
Exile in Transylvania, he attacked this region, which was under Hungarian protection. His old ally, Vlad III, lost his title to the Ottoman satellite Radu in 1462. Stefan used that to take the strategic city of Kilia in 1465, and that gave him control over the Danube Delta. In 1466, Stefan supported the anti-Hungarian rebellion in Transylvania. In late 1467, the King of Hungary, Matthias I, dealt with the uprising in Transylvania and moved into Moldavia with an army that had between 20 and 40,000 troops and a few hundred cannons. At a place called Baia, Stefan and his 15,000-strong army managed to defeat the Hungarians, killing more than 10,000 and wounding Matthias. The Moldavian prince invaded Transylvania on a few occasions over the next few years, but also was forced to defend his lands. In the summer of 1470, he soundly defeated the Golden Horde at Lipnik in the battle that marked one of the last occasions the Horde went on an offensive. Later that year, his rival Peter invaded Moldavia, but was defeated at Targu and then executed. Another invasion from Wallachia was stopped at Sochi in 1471. It was around this time the relationship between Mehmet II and Stefan began to weaken. In 1471, the Ottomans demanded Kilia return to Wallachian control. Stefan refused, and in 1472 started plotting with Uzun Hasan against the Ottomans. The next year, Stefan used the Ottoman-Akkinyulu War to his advantage. He stopped paying tribute, attacked Wallachia, defeated Radu at Râmnicu Sărat, and installed Basarab III Leota to the throne. Back east, the Ottomans defeated the Akkinyulu at the Battle of Otluk Beli in 1473, and as his eastern borders were now secured, Sultan Mehmet turned his gaze to Europe. By the end of the year, Radu was restored. In 1474, Leota regained the title, supported by Stefan. The Ottoman Sultan couldn't tolerate this anymore. Mehmet sent an ultimatum. Stefan had to pay tribute, return Kilia, and cease his attacks on Wallachia. As the prince declined, the Sultan assigned the governor of Rumelia, Hadim Suleiman Pasha, who was busy with the siege of Venetian-controlled Skoda, to end his campaign and move his troops against Moldavia.
Okay.
Suleiman followed the order and reached Sofia in September of 1474. The number of troops the Ottomans had is highly contested, with the numbers ranging from 50,000 to 120,000. We know that up to 20,000 Bulgarians joined Suleiman Pasha in Sofia, but it is not clear if these were troops or engineers as stated in the Ottoman sources. We also know that Leota switched sides and joined the Ottomans with up to 15,000 Wallachians. Meanwhile, Stefan knew that his refusal to accept the ultimatum would provoke an attack, so he asked Hungary, Poland, and the Pope for help. His standing army of 10,000 was reinforced by thousands of Moldavian peasant recruits, 2,000 Poles, 2,000 Hungarians, and 5,000 Székelys, for a total of between 30 and 40,000.
Okay,
he also had 20 cannons and a small unit of handgunners. Suleiman crossed the Danube in November of 1474. And although the campaigning season was over, he gave his troops 2 weeks of rest and then continued his march towards Moldavia, reinforced by Leota around Bucharest. In December, the Ottomans entered Moldavia, yet Stefan was prepared and used a scorched earth tactic against them. The villages were burned, the wells were poisoned, and the population was moved to create supply problems for the Ottoman army.
I always wonder the scorched earth tactic. I mean that's gotta suck for the locals, man. You poison the wells. How long does it take to unpoison the wells? And is that even possible? You have to dig another well or something? uh, and then like, all your food is gone. So I don't know, man. It's like I guess everyone kind of just rallies together and shares what they got, for the places that didn't get scorched and whatnot. But that has to suck for the locals, man, that spent all that time and all of a sudden it's just ripped away from them. But I guess it's better for that than having the enemy come on your lands and take it from you. Either way, you're not going to, it's going to get ripped from you, I guess. Right? Yeah.
The population was moved to create supply problems for the Ottoman army. This was a war of attrition, and Stefan, who was used to fighting superior opponents, had mastered it, continually harassing the Ottomans with his hit-and-run tactics. The hungry and exhausted Ottoman army moved to the north for a month.
I mean, you gotta do that. I mean, I've seen so many wars where like the smaller army doesn't do that. It just makes perfect sense to have guerrilla warfare, and just like the Americans hitting against the British, and if you're the smaller country, you just do that because they can't spend all their time in there. They're gonna run out of food, run out of resources, and their morale is gonna go down. And eventually, they're just gonna get fed up and leave because it's not worth their while, because they want to go in there, get a fast, overwhelming victory, and then go home, But people, the smart commanders, if they go for the win, they do guerrilla warfare. A lot of them want that big victory, that big stamp of I won, I beat you. So they end up doing a head-on thing, which normally ends up in their demise, right? Anyways, off topic here.
Army moved to the north for a month. On January 10th, 1475, the Ottoman scouts reported intact villages south of Vaslui in a valley where the Balad River runs. With heavy fog and rain accompanied with frigid temperatures, Suleiman decided that he could rest his troops south of Vaslui while waiting for the entire Moldavian army to show up. However, as the Ottoman troops started passing to the other side of the river over the only bridge in the area, Moldavian battle drums were heard to the north. Convinced the whole Moldavian army was ahead, Suleiman rushed his troops forward in a dense fog and ordered the army to form up on the western side of the river. As the drum roll continued, more Ottoman soldiers crossed the river and moved through the mud to the north, forming up along the way. The valley the Ottomans entered was narrow and not suitable for their cavalry charges. Meanwhile, the front lines of the Ottomans finally entered into contact with the Moldavians. Stefan's light cavalry attacked the flanks of the Ottoman column, luring it into the valley.
I mean, obviously, it's a trap, right? So, I guess, when you're a big army, you're just desperate. You're claiming at straws because your people are becoming, very aggravated that it's taking forever to get into battle. They want to battle now. They want to win. So, at any point, just any kind of land to have a battle on the Ottomans right now. Just like, I don't care where the battle is, just give us a battle, please. Stop running and hiding. Have a battle on your grounds, kind of thing. And that mindset is obviously about to lead them into trouble, So I'm just wondering how bad this is going to be because obviously it's springing up a pretty nice trap right now, and Ottomans are taking it.
Stefan's light cavalry attacked the flanks of the Ottoman column, luring it into the valley. Stefan placed his best troops, Moldavian professionals and Seke units here, and they also slowly retreated. The Ottomans were ordered to advance, yet they were surprised when the Moldavians stopped at a designated location. At that moment, Stefan's hidden artillery units, archers and handgunners were ordered to start shooting at the Ottoman units. Suleiman, who was at the rear of his army, was unable to assess the situation on the front lines and tried to rush his remaining forces across the river. This, along with consistent Moldavian cannon fire, caused the wooden bridge to collapse, slowing the Ottoman reinforcements.
Wow.
The less loyal Wallachians did not cross the river in support of Suleiman. Meanwhile, the Moldavian infantry started a slow retreat.
Like, what's the point of even having them with you if they're not going to help you out? They're just there. Oh, if it's a guaranteed victory, they're going to jump in. If not, they're there. They're just there to look pretty to make yourself look more terrifying. That you got more men. I don't know.
Retreat yet again, and Stefan had sent his light cavalry to provoke the Ottoman cavalry to move up the valley where he was about to spring his trap. The Sipahis were successful in pushing the left wing of the Sekeyers and the Moldavian professionals. However, this lured them in even more. Suddenly, the Moldavian war drums were heard from the forest to the left of the Ottoman line. Completely exposed, Ottoman commanders panicked, and Suleiman, never fully aware of the tactical situation, tried to form a secondary line to defend against the threat on his left side. The main Moldavian attack was planned on the Ottoman right, and the heavy boyar cavalry of Stefan, which was hidden behind a hill until now, charged into the rear and side of the Ottoman army.
Wow.
Despite still outnumbering their opponents, the Ottomans thought that they were surrounded from three sides and panicked. They tried to retreat, only to be run down by the Moldavian cavalry.
What?
This retreat went on for 3 days, and Stefan's troops continuously harassed the Ottomans. Contemporary sources indicate Stefan lost 4,500, whereas Suleiman's casualties were around 45,000.
Wow.
Many Ottoman leaders were taken captive and then executed. The Moldavian victory was the biggest the Ottomans suffered against the Christian forces until now, only overshadowed by the crushing defeat at Ankara, while Stefan gained the prestigious Athleta Christi, the Champion of Christ title from the Pope. However, Stefan knew that he would have to face the Ottomans again, and even this did not force his neighbours to mobilize to his defense. Mehmet, realizing that he had to get the job done himself, moved into Moldavia with more than 100,000 men in the summer of 1476. His allies from the Crimean Khanate attacked from the east.
I just want to say that battle was insane. Like, oh my god, the Ottomans did every single thing that Stefan wanted them to do. Like, oh my god, like that was just perfect, absolutely perfect. Like the drums just worked out perfect. Obviously, they just had a group of people, and the fact that it all went down, it seemed like without a hitch. When obviously there was no like walkie talkies or it'd be hard to do signals and stuff like that. How it was all coordinated just so perfectly. And I was amazed. That's got to be one of the best kind of like battle plans that went off without a hitch. Like I've seen watching these videos, that just seemed to work to perfection, like for real. And if I was these outside guys, seeing if he was capable of doing stuff, I know I'd probably definitely be more willing here. Take my troops. You can definitely beat these guys, man. Keep that up. But I guess, the big guns are coming up. Mehmet's coming in, and I guess he's more battle hardened, and probably not as gullible. So obviously, kind of curious how Stefan's going to work this now over this next battle. But that was cool, man. That was definitely surprising. Like, I thought, okay, this is his plan. Okay, his plan's done. And then I was like, oh, there's still more. This is his plan. Okay, no, there's still more. I was like, the plan just kept going and going, and he kept working and working. It's like, that's cool. Anyways, I like it.
26. His allies from the Crimean Khanate attacked from the east and invaded Bessarabia. Mehmet captured the crucial fortress of Akerman on the Black Sea coast, thus accomplishing one of the critical objectives of the campaign. Stefan realized that facing the Ottoman army in an open field would result in disaster, and opted for his previous tactics: attrition warfare and a scorched earth policy.
Smart.
Mehmet did not repeat the mistakes of Suleiman, and marched slowly, ensuring the safety of his supply lines.
Smart.
Eventually, Stefan's 30,000-strong army had to face the massive forces of Mehmet in Valea Alba on July 26, 1476.
Well, now it doesn't look like there's. Now it looks like they're just going head on. Like my man wasn't being drawn into a situation, and a pairing, Stefan, he guess he just can't drag it on. I guess for reasons I'm not sure why he had to all of a sudden just now do it. Why couldn't he just keep waiting him out? Until they actually maybe left. But it seems like he was kind of forced into a situation where he has to face him, I guess. So like it's a one-on-one here, and I see they got spikes up in here, but I'm curious to see how this plays out now.
We have limited knowledge of this engagement, yet we know that the Moldavians used fire and the heat of summer to hinder the Ottoman advance. The forest where Moldavian forces expected the foe was set on fire, and the Ottoman forces suffered casualties. Moldavian cannons and handgunners inflicted even more damage. However, the Ottomans outnumbered the Moldavians, and due to their sheer numbers, the makeshift barricades built by the Moldavians were soon overrun.
Yeah.
Stefan, realizing this would be a pivotal moment in the battle, unleashed his 4,000-strong cavalry upon the Sultan's forces. Unfortunately for him, these units were pushed back, while Mehmet ordered his horsemen to make an assault, and it was more successful.
I figured.
This success was short-lived, however, since Stefan had 1,000 horsemen hidden in the forest, and they attacked the Ottoman cavalry. Realizing that the battle...
I always get nervous, like, in these battles, because the leaders always sit in the back here, when the leader starts, like, joining, like, the battle. Like, Stefan's over here, and then just thinking, all it takes is a couple of, like, random horse guys. I mean, obviously he's surrounded by men protecting him, but it takes, like, one of these, like, I guess, I don't know, a bunch of these cavalry to head his way, and, like, one bad arrow or whatever, lance or whatnot, and if he falls, then the whole army is just gonna fall. So, and now you got my mate coming up here, so it always makes me nervous for like the sides where their leader comes in, because it's like you kind of want the leaders to survive and just let the troops kind of battle it out and how it would actually turn out. But because once the leader is out, then like bam, it's a domino effect, and usually the battle's lost. But anyways.
Could only be won through his involvement, and losing troops in this back-and-forth combat, Mehmet II used his guard to rally his forces and crushed the defending Moldavians.
Yeah.
The Janissaries hunted down Moldavian troops in the dense forest, while the flanking reinforcements prevented fleeing forces from starting an all-out retreat. At the end of the day, the forest was full of dead bodies, and this defeat became a dark page in the history of Romania and Moldavia. Casualties from both sides added up to nearly 30,000 men, according to contemporary sources. Yet, even such a victory did not ensure the conquest of Moldavia for the Ottomans. Stefan retreated towards the Polish border.
See, I just don't get why, like I said, they didn't know much about this battle, so I guess that makes sense of why I wouldn't get it. Because, the whole, like, guerrilla warfare was working. Why all of a sudden do you just have a big battle when you know that the odds are against you? It doesn't seem to make sense, and Stefan seems like a very smart dude with the previous battle, how well that worked. I mean, I guess he was just forced. His hand had to have been forced into a situation that he really didn't want to be in. And I don't know, it's just kind of confusing. But then again, I'm always confused.
Border, recruiting a new army. Stefan retreated towards the Polish border, recruiting a new army, while the Ottomans had failed to take the fortresses of Sedzyawa and Namts. They started to suffer from starvation and an outbreak of the plague, and were also harassed by local resistance. And as the Voivoda of Transylvania, Stefan V, began forming a new army in the area, assisted by Vlad III, Mehmet decided to retreat from Moldavia in August. By that time, both sides were exhausted, and although Stefan and Mehmet fought over Wallachia for some time, eventually the Moldavian prince agreed to peace and started paying annual tribute again. This
Ah,
was not the end of independent Moldavia, and the Ottoman campaigns in the region were not halted. Our series on the Ottomans will continue, so make sure you are subscribed to our channel and have pressed the alarm bell to learn more about the decisive battles of history.
and kings and generals are just awesome. But yes, so Ottomans really get what they wanted, but they kind of did because they're getting their tribute. You know, that as long as they're getting their money, I guess they're happy. But the land's not their own still. You know, and Moldavia is not going. No, they're still there. Obviously, you know, I guess eventually they're going to fight back. And here, if the Ottomans are going to go for Hungary over here, this big guy. So I guess we'll see what happens next. But yeah, we had one amazing battle to start off with, amazing, and then another one where it's just brute force pretty much just won out. You know, just the old fashioned, they all like run against each other, and the guy that decide with the more guys kind of wins, and that's basically what happened. There wasn't really much to it, but it is what it is, and that's why it's always nice to have more numbers. You know, it can't hurt. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts below on the two battles, and maybe you guys know a little bit more about. Maybe I missed something, or you guys might know a little bit more about the guerrilla warfare was working. So why maybe the people, if, were just tired of the running around and wanted to actually have a face to face battle, have it done with. Maybe the people kind of forced his hand. I don't know, but anyways, please hit that like and subscribe button below, and yeah. Definitely a very interesting video. There's always so much going on here. Because the Ottoman Empire was he's got all the enemies to the west over here, and then he's also got to worry with the east, which right now he doesn't have to worry about that. But they're just surrounded. I mean, it's also, I guess, strategic wise, it's nice to have like the Black Sea and stuff, surrounded by partially by water, where you don't have to worry about being surrounded by four sides, pretty much just two sides. But anyways, guys, I hit the like and subscribe button. Really cool stuff here. And I'll definitely catch you guys in future videos. Always a blast, and peace. Yes, see you guys later. I'm out.